here now, you're at the table now, like now what?
You are going through this because you're going in the right direction. As soon as you say, I'm going this way, I'm going to become a dad or whatever, you don't know how it's going to look going through that door.
No.
But you know that eventually you're going to get there. And that's a huge mindset shift for me, because I used to look at when I failed as a negative. Oh, I should go in a different direction. I've been a hard worker my whole life, but I didn't have that belief of like, I don't care what happens. It was like when I encountered adversity, I would kind of go the other direction. So what's up, guys? This is Nate Force. I'm here with Alex Chapman, my running mate and, teammate. We're launching this podcast. We're super excited. This is a journey that we're on. We don't know where we're going, but we know we've left already, and we're figuring it out on the way down as we build the plane. So we're super excited to be on this journey with you guys. Go ahead, Alex.
So this is episode 1 with Nate Force and I, Alex Chapman. Super excited to bring this to you guys, pump out as much content as possible. We're going to talk about a million different topics, from wealth to health to business to God to children to fatherhood, business, whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about. Conspiracies, stuff people are afraid to talk about. So we're just excited, man, and I'm excited to be working with you, Nate, on this. And
honored, bro.
Let's go, baby.
This has been probably 8 years in the making right now for me. I've tried to do this a couple times and pursued it, but it was never the right time.
Yep.
You know, it was me trying to be something that I wasn't ready to be yet. And so, I haven't arrived, but I know I've left.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to be on this journey with you, bro.
Likewise, brother. Likewise. Yeah. Starting off talking God, starting off talking babies. I mean, those are powerful topics.
Yeah.
And for those, that do decide to watch anything that you and I speak about, like, I don't think you and I are capable of not talking about stuff that just affects you deeply.
Sure. Yeah.
And God and children and mindset and your wife and your person, and it's just like, once you figure out that is like your cocoon, that's your safe place, the rest is easy.
Yeah.
And back to prayer, like, I'm open to talk about this a little bit more, and I've definitely avoided it.
Sure.
For years, and intentionally, right? Because I did battle with God and with religion and going to, and you and I've talked about this a bunch, like going to Spain and living in Spain for almost a year and walking into these churches. And I'm like, how long have these truly been here? Like, what is this? And to see how massive they are, to see how much money, now being in real estate, seeing how much money really went into like put these houses together.
Yeah.
Like, 1,000 meters of, marble going all through this place, and like golden doorknobs. And so I struggled with that. Right. But the whole part is, for me, is everyone prays in the end. Or, when something terrible is going wrong. Yeah. When something horrible is going wrong, you're like, oh God. That's where you turn. Where else do you go?
Sure.
Everyone, I don't care who you are, everyone is like, okay, please help me through this, right?
Yeah.
So they're asking for something because they're hopeless.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's interesting that when you get there, it's just the natural instinct is to look up and be like, help.
Yeah.
Help
it's
me
like
with this.
You have that in you, even if you deny it.
Yeah.
Or you don't pay attention to it, but in that time of crisis, like they say, the true test of a man isn't when he's on the bottom, it's when he's on the top. It's easy to, like, for me, one of my patterns was always to get to zero, like with money, with finances, all that stuff, because I was super motivated. I was super disciplined. So I was unconsciously always putting myself back there. And so understanding that pattern for me has been huge to understand, like, this is how you move forward and how you start, instead of going in a circle, you start going in a straight line and going up. And so going back to your point, it's like when you're at the bottom, it's easy to be dependent on a higher power and on your source. But what are you going to do once everything's cool? Yeah. And I feel like I'm in kind of that chapter now. It's like life is moving at a great pace. Everything's starting to flow up. But it's like, how do I stay on my disciplines?
What do you think changed? Like, what do you think? Like, because I've kind of seen, I've watched you. I've obviously been through different businesses and different things. But like when I met you, it was, to me, you're this exact same, even though that you've gone through so many changes, but like, what do you think was like, was there a pivotal moment that changed you?
Yeah.
Was it like just a consistent trajectory, like you're saying, like you're just constantly going up?
Yeah.
Was it all mindset? Was it the career? Like, what do you do? Was there a moment where you're like, this changed? This is what changed me.
So to preface that a little bit, I think for me, life is that consistent. You know, you're an overnight success, 10 years in the making, right? It just the dam breaks at some point, and so it goes positively or negatively. And so I was thinking about this the other day when I was studying for my license, and I failed that thing 7 times, and it was probably on my 3rd time I had this moment of.
You failed 7 times?
7 times.
So did I.
Yeah. It's a good number, right?
It
Number
is,
of completion. But the point is, I hit this point where I literally prayed. I felt led to this for years, but I denied it. I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to do it. I wanted to start this massive podcast and be this big fitness celebrity. And I was chasing things for the wrong reasons. What you plant grows, and what you chase runs from you. And this ran from me. So it's interesting, as I've just pursued excellence, these things start to come back. So this is a huge confirmation for me that you and me are sitting here.
Yeah, man, it starts with one.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I think, dude, I mean, it's so cool to hear you and watch this, because it is important who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're all chasing something. And it's funny because the first friend of mine that did the whole podcast game was Will Grimes.
Yeah.
Right. And shout out to Will Grimes. I've been on his podcast a few times, and he's just on point, right? Like he's good. I was watching his Instagram this morning, and he was talking about, like, do you want to do this stuff because it looks cool and you're chasing it, or do you want to do this stuff because you're an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
You know, do you want to do this stuff, like, do you see what goes on behind the scenes? Do you just see 2 successful people, or people that you think are successful on screen? You like want to be just the way it looks, or do you want to actually like go behind the curtain and like lose the money, lose the sleep, risk it all, and do it? And it just, I love listening to him, you know, to him talk, because I've known him for so long. And it was interesting. Like, no one really does want to put in like all the hard stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like even in here, when they, you know, on the team, when they see, oh, when we call out your name or you win an award or whatever, they're just like, they think that's just you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they think it's just, oh, that's just Nate. It's like, you don't just do this stuff.
I was thinking about this over the weekend.
Happen.
Michael Jordan, he said one thing that like blew my mind. He said, I don't play for the awards. I don't play for the accolades, the championships, even though he does. He said, I play for that one person who hasn't seen me play. The one kid in the stands who's up on the very top row. He's like, I play for that person. And I think that's part of my motivation. Like, I don't care if one person listens to this podcast. I know I'm getting better, and I know you're going to get better from this. But if one person does, we accomplish that. It's like play for the audience of one. And when you do that, things just start to happen. And so to answer your question from what shifted, it was this moment when I was studying for my exam, and I literally had prayed, like, God, please don't bless me till I'm ready. And that's when I met my wife. But it's been a theme for me too. And it was that 3rd time I think I failed it. I was like, man, I feel like you've led me to this place. Like, am I meant to go in a different direction? And all I heard was, do you trust me? And I was like, okay, cool. And so I was like, I'm going to keep going. I was like, I don't care if I fail this thing 100 times. I'm going to pass it eventually. I'm going to keep getting better. Like, my score would tick up like 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, and then I passed it on my 7th one. And it's kind of been that thought. And that was, looking back almost 2 years ago now, that's been like a huge point for me. That's how I run my business. Like, I don't care how long it takes, I'm going to get there. And I'm not working for the result anymore. It's just because I know who I am, and this is what I'm meant to do. And so whether we reach one person with this thing or 100 million people, which I would love to do that, because I want to impact people, and that's really where this thing is.
It's tough, man. There's a lot of people, and that, like, the test side, so going through and taking the real estate test 7 times was almost kind of like humiliating internally.
Dude. Yeah.
Because
I have PTSD driving the route. I took it yesterday going to Topgolf. I'm like, oh man, I hate driving this route, because it was the same way, because that was where the test place was.
I mean, it was like, it was so bizarre, because people who, in my mind, the wrong way to think, but straight up, people in my mind that like I was smarter than or more talented than go in, ace it first time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Yeah. And I'm like, and they come out and they're like, yeah, passed state and
I'm like,
federal.
I hate you right now.
But I'm just like, all right. And then you start making excuses, right? Like, I've never been a good test taker.
Exactly.
It's multiple choice.
Yeah.
I have ADD, whatever it was. And I did. And then I'm like, then it started to become like a battle. Like, I'm taking this. If I have to take it 50 times.
Yeah.
And it got to the lady outside, young lady outside.
Hey, Alex.
I'd walk out and she'd be like, because they know you failed, right? Like right when you come out. And she was like, she just knew like the third time that I was just going to reschedule immediately. So I come in and she'd be like, the next appointment's in 2 days. And this was when you could schedule like date, like if they had one
I had
the
to
next
wait
day.
like 24 hours or something to
Yeah,
rebook
you
it.
could,
Yeah.
24 hours a week. But then I would go into the car and this is where I tricked myself. I'd go in the car and try to like from memory what I thought I missed, which was just confusing me even more. But it's a testament that like to get in isn't necessarily like that's not what makes you good at anything, right?
Yeah.
But if you make the team, doesn't mean that you're going to be a baller. If you pass the test, doesn't mean you're going to be a good lawyer, a good realtor, a good doctor, whatever. You know, that's just like your entry.
Yeah.
Like you're here now, you're at the table now. Like now what? Like and so I do think the harder it is, the better you're going to be. Like because it tested me early on. I did not know you failed 7 times.
Yeah, bro. Well,
I never tell people that. As of late, I'm like, yeah, I took it 7 times.
But it's also sharing that everything isn't cool, you know? I think that's part of prayer. We talk about that. When you're grateful for the test, that's when you can pass the test. And knowing that you are going through this because you're going in the right direction. As soon as you say, I'm going this way, I'm going to become a dad or whatever, you don't know how it's going to look going through that door.
No.
But you know that eventually you're going to get there. And that's a huge mindset shift for me because I used to look at when I failed as a negative. Oh, I should go in a different direction. I've been a hard worker my whole life, but I didn't have that belief of like, I don't care what happens. It was like when I encountered adversity, I would kind of go the other direction. I think about college. I walked on at West Virginia, and then I didn't get my scholarship, even though I was promised it. And I was better than all the other scholarship guys they brought in and all this other stuff. I got tested because I wasn't playing. And I went into a shell and pouted and all this other dumb stuff I look back on now, but it was a lesson. And I didn't pass that test. But if you keep seeing these tests and your life has a theme to it, and that's been mine.
God, man. I mean, it's just like, I think a lot of people can relate, man. Like that there's so much uncertainty, and I think now more than ever, I think it's harder now than it's ever been. And I'm not talking about like back in the 20s during the Great Depression and all this stuff. Still was just lands of opportunity, and the people that were going to flourished, etc. But right now, all you're doing is looking through this lens in your phone or your computer,
the highlight reel
of just millions of people living and doing way doper shit than you constantly.
Yeah.
Better podcast, better looking, better body, more money.
Yeah.
Better house, better girl, better job, and you're just like, and it just is like, it like intoxicates you. You're just like, and so I feel like horrible. Like you and I are just kind of out of it. Like we can taste it and feel it and look in there and be like, damn, but it isn't this, we didn't grow up with it.
Sure.
We weren't raised like staring at it. It kind of came later, and it was like, so we still met girls the old way. Like, you want to dance?
Pick up a phone.
Yeah, you have to like call
hey,
them.
Mr. Smith, can I talk to your daughter?
yeah. But now it's like with my kids, and you'll see this, and your kids are a little younger, but I have a teenager and 2 teenagers, and it is like, it's a scary.
Yeah.
That shit's scary.
Totally.
Because we don't know where it's going to go from it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we don't know what's going to come of this because we've never had this generation. And Einstein, like, I fear for the generation of technology, for it will be a generation of idiots.
Yeah.
Because you're not paying attention to anything else except other people.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to win your race because all you're doing is looking to the side of you and watching people just blow by you that are paying attention. So it's hard. I actually understand. Like, first I used to think like depression and anxiety and all that was like total bullshit. I was like, dude, you're just weak, dude. Before I really like went through all the changes and the entrepreneurship and fatherhood and all this humbled me. But like when people have like anxiety and depression and everything, I understand that they have it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's truly social media, the food and everything else that you and I talk about, lack of God, lack of faith, lack of religion, belief, and it's so, and every podcast everyone's on is like, man, it's mindset, bro.
Yeah.
You just got to wake up early, drink your water, fast, you know, and it's like all these,
and that keeps you stuck in that. And if you think about it, like understanding like the energy chakras, for example, the competitive energy is the lowest chakra. So that keeps you in that low state. You know, like it says, his ways are higher. Well, that's vibrational energy too. You look at the energy of peace, love, and joy. That's like a 600 to 700 to 800. Whereas like competitiveness, anger, depression, that's all below 100. So like attracts like, right? It's just the way this earth has been set up. So misery loves company. All these sayings that we know. When you're competitive and being an athlete, that's what you're trained to do. I got to beat you, Alex. But what do you do when I beat you? Well, I got to beat the next guy. You're going to be on that road forever. But when you're running your own race, it's just being the best version of myself every day. Yeah, I love to compete, but then we compete together as opposed to just me trying to beat you, because then you lose. But what happens when you lose? You got this wake of dead bodies in your path. And there's carnage behind you. And I don't want to live a life like that. Like I want people to come with me to, like, a rising tide raises all ships, right? So let's win together, because there's more than enough. Like they're printing money literally every day. It's never going to run out. So let's impact. And that's what I want from this podcast, is to just help someone understand their purpose. Yeah. Understand you're designed and created for a destiny. It's great. You're amazing. What you've been through wasn't designed to kill you. It was designed to test you and mold you, as opposed to, you know, the only failure in life is quitting, right?
Quitting's easy. Quitting is the easiest thing in the world, because you just tap out and then you make all these excuses as to why you quit. And I've quit before on a few things.
But there's also wisdom to quitting too.
Yeah.
Understanding when you need to go in a different direction.
Right.
Yeah. And that for me was coaching.
There's two different types. Well, there's quitting and there's like redirecting.
Yeah.
Right? Like my son quit his basketball team, right? And it's a huge deal. But he's redirected his energy.
He didn't quit basketball.
Well, he didn't quit basketball, and he didn't quit chasing what he felt was his opportunity on that team, which was like his strength, his endurance, his overall fitness, his vertical. Because basketball, he's watching these kids talk about same kind of thing, right? Like now TikTok. Yeah. And all these things, you can watch athletes all over the country that are his age. These kids got
millions of followers.
And they're yamming, and I'm like, how old is that kid? And my son, man, he's 13. And so I can't imagine, because if I'm feeling this way as his dad, if I'm like, oh shit, dude. I can't even imagine inside what he's like, oh my God. But instead, he took that and was like, all right, well, the only way I'm going to be able to compete is I have to get strong. Yeah. Like I need to be able to, like, you know, I'm definitely strong right now, but I'm not fast enough. I don't jump high enough. So he left a team that he felt his coach wasn't giving him what he needed. And he's been in the gym with me. That's awesome. 5 days a week. And the first few times in the gym, and this is what I love about him and about what we're talking about. First few times in the gym, dude, he couldn't even do like a body squat. Wow. But he's a stud athlete, dude. He's crossing kids over and I go to like, just do an air squat, you know, and his knees fucking buckle in, and I'm like, where did you get these bird legs? Like, but he's got these like strong legs, but he didn't have the fast twitch and the muscle, like, from those mechanics, you know, so like, which also went to show me the coach wasn't. So do you just have them scrimmaging? Like, how is my kid who's on a travel AAU team going over to LA, going to Texas, going to Arizona, playing in the most competitive leagues you can play in 8th grade, and my kid can't do a push-up correctly or an air squat? Like, you're just having him shoot and run drills. Like, there's so much more to this. And so now, almost 6 weeks later, like he went from like barely being able to do a body weight squat, dude, to now he's throwing on, you know, the 25s on a barbell squat, just 6 weeks. That's awesome. To the basement, up and crushing it. Yeah. So it's just like, and he didn't stop. And dude, imagine how humiliating it was for him. Yeah. When I'm throwing kettlebells around next to him. Yeah. And he couldn't even do an air squat.
Well, I think
and he stayed with it the whole time.
I
like
love
6 weeks, and now he's like seeing results and he's feeling stronger.
yeah.
So at least but I don't think you can teach that. Dude, I truly believe like you either have like a will to get better. It's a natural DNA trait in you.
Yeah.
Or you're just going to always quit, always make excuses. Like,
Well,
I
he's
feel
observed you, bro.
Yeah.
He's observed you go through your challenges, the way you've navigated the past year. And I think that's what's so powerful as dads, to not shield our kids from our failures, but to show them how we get up and how we keep going. I'm getting like emotional even like talking about that. But like talking about social media, the world out there is going to mold them, teach them you're not good enough. You got to compete with so-and-so. You got to do this. You got to have this, blah, blah, blah. But if we're absent as dads, we're in that role to teach them who they are so they can navigate this. It's not our job to shield them from every problem, but to teach them who they are so that when they do encounter those problems, they can navigate through them. Like I was thinking about this, even in the realm of sports, when I was coming up through sports, when someone would talk smack to me, I would just kind of, I didn't know what to do. Like, what? Like, but you got to talk smack back, and then that bully goes away, right?
Yep.
And it's the same way with the negative side of this earth. When it comes and talks smack to you, you got to talk back to it. And that's how you get through these challenges and these journeys. But he's seen you being fit, everything. And that's just normal for you. So therefore, he wants part of that now. And it's like our kids are going to learn from observation more than they learn by what we tell them.
Isn't that crazy how and you and I were just talking about this weekend or last week with Dr. Steve, not with him, but about him, of like how your fitness goals have changed. Whereas like, you know, you have a family now, you have basically you and I have everything we could possibly dream for, right? Like we do. Like it's not easy and there's challenges, but like we do have everything you could possibly dream for. We're truly living the American dream, like 100%.
Oh yeah.
Right? But like the fitness goal is tough. We've been in this game a long time. We know what it feels like to be jacked fast.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like we know what it feels like to have $1 million in our health. Right? It's a bank account.
Yeah.
So you and I know we can look back and go, damn, I was rich. You know, and then I don't think we ever like lost it. But dude, it gets harder. Your joints start to get sore later. You're not as motivated.
Yeah.
Your results maybe don't come as fast. You can't jump as high. You can't squat as much. You know, you the minute you eat something shitty, you're just, or you have like a long weekend of binging food.
Yeah.
Like you don't have like a six pack. So I say like the six pack is like that is, as you get older, like if you have a six pack and you're older, it's like, damn, dude, you're doing something right. Unless you're a genetic freak, you're doing something really right. You're disciplined. You've got all this stuff. And it's that my fitness goal has changed just because of my kids. Literally just because of my daughter, my son, and the baby. Yeah. Like I don't need to look fly on a beach or at a pool. Like Haley's not going anywhere. Yeah. She loves me. I'm not, I love her. She's not going to go anywhere. Yeah. But like, so I'm not like trying to like impress anyone.
For sure.
Not even really myself as much as I used to. So I used to like be like, well, as long as because you look good, you feel good, it gives you confidence, all this stuff. Dude, like to watch your teenagers, and you'll see this here soon, but you're already on it, so you're way ahead of the game, to like have like the fit dad. It's a trip. Yeah, dude, because and you'll see this like when you go around and your kids start, even like daycares or anything you start bringing them to. No offense to the dads out there, but they need to up their game,
dude. Totally.
Because when I'm at the games and I'm watching all this, like, dude, I'm one of the youngest dads. Yeah. So like all these guys started when they're like in their 40s, right? And I have teenagers and I'm 39. Yeah. So I was a young dad, and so it was easy for me to kind of be the young dad. But it's like, your kids pay attention to that shit, dude. Dude, totally. They look at your physique, you know, and they're on Instagram, everything else, and they're proud of you. They're proud to be like, my dad works out, my dad's fit.
My dad doesn't have a spare tire.
You know what I mean?
Like, I can't stand the dad bod culture. Like, that's okay? No. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
get after it.
I know for me, I've been fit my whole life. I can't remember a time where I wasn't active and sweaty. Like, I was just in sports from a very young age. But I've never really gotten out of shape. There's been moments where I've been like, okay, you got to tighten up. Yeah. Like I got up to 239 one time and I was like, oh no, heck no.
No, the six pack kind of went away, dude. And shit.
And so it was like, that was motivation. But it's, your fitness is always going to bring a level of respect. just like the person who's the wealthiest walking into the room, they might be a complete a-hole, but you're going to respect them in some way because they have a result in their life. And so your fitness is a huge part of that. To me, success isn't just getting financially successful or having a great marriage.
Nope.
I want to be a 10 out of 10 in every aspect of my life. Like, and for me, financially, that's always been the challenge. I've been like, I'm fit, I got this, I got a great life, I'm happy, but I'm stressed out to the max. And that's where I knew some things had to change in my life. And that talk about redirecting, if you take a minute to be present and understand, man, this is teaching me a lesson, I might need to go in a different direction. I think that's where, social media and different stuff and the distraction culture of, oh, I'm a super fan, like that's where I escape on the weekend. If you're doing that, or if alcohol or drugs, whatever, one man's heroin is another man's Hershey bar.
Yep.
So understanding this is a distraction, where am I meant to go? And for me now, it's like, I know that's solid. So training isn't a challenge anymore. It's just part of my life. And so getting to that place, it's cool to do a 90-day challenge or the 75 hard.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do after that? Right? Unless you keep going on that. And for me, that's where the small tweaks, talk about supplements. I like to change one at a time to see if it does a difference.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it does. So that keeps going. And then it's like this slow oak tree, this growth. It's like once that oak tree pops through the surface, it's never the same anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what we're meant to do as well.
God, man, that's it. The health is a definite pursuit, just like your wealth.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I don't think you ever stop chasing it. And
It's
I
the
wish,
same
dude,
process.
that's why I agreed to sell fitness the way I did. And I did the fitness on the rocks, and I did the fitness in the city, and worked at 24-hour fitness and did all this all those years, because it was like, I could sit across from you and be like, dude, you need this.
Yeah.
And it'd be absolutely true. Like, you need this. Everyone needs this.
Well,
Why?
One of my biggest pet
Does
peeves
so much for you
is seeing like a out of shape trainer. Like, wait, you don't believe in what you're selling? Like, I'm not saying we don't go through our journeys, and I'm not judging anyone from that standpoint, but if you're not practicing what you preach, how are you going to talk about it? Right? And so also too, looking at someone, you might not know their story, so don't judge their story. But my point is,
you always have to ask first. Like, before I come up with this, Mr. Trainer.
Yeah.
Where are you at? And sometimes they're like, oh, I'm down 120 pounds.
Exactly.
And you're like, all right.
That's a different story.
I was about to light you up. Yeah.
Obviously, that's not a rule across the board,
Right.
but it's just follow results.
Yeah.
If someone has what you want, pay attention to it and surround yourself with them. And also too, if you're in a challenging relationship, for example, you might see a lot of people in your life who are in great relationships. Well, that's meant to grow you. And so plugging into that and being okay with that discomfort is a huge part as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Man, I think it's, God, I mean, there's so many topics and there's so much, and I know we're just freestyling today, but like, talking about like goals and vision and this is like, I think that a lot of people overthink this stuff, right? And myself included.
Yeah.
Maybe even you included.
For
right?
sure.
Like, I don't know how long we've talked about just getting content, pushing it out. And so that people, and it is like, maybe we help one young entrepreneur. Maybe, someone's on a fitness journey today and that's what they leaned on. Maybe somebody was questioning God today and they were like, if these guys are talking about that, I don't know.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm right there with you. Like, I don't know where this is going to go. One thing I do know is like, if you and I commit to each other, we're going to commit to this and the audience and grow it. But so many people don't do stuff like this because they don't know where to start.
Yeah.
When it's really just start.
For sure.
It's like running, like working. My little brother, he's in this weird phase of like work and stuff. And I know we've only got a few more minutes, but he always asks me, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And I'm like, bro, just start. Just start.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're starting. Just start running.
Yeah.
And then along the way, you're going to find new destinations. And you're going to take this road. Then you're going to take that road. And then you're going to go and you start your journey. But if you're just sitting and thinking and you're depressed and you're watching everyone else run, then you just have to throw your shoes on and just go.
Well, you can't steer a parked car.
No, dude. and you're not going to run in the direction you want at first.
Yeah.
It's going to be some shit job. It's going to be some weird thing. You're not going to like maybe who you work with or your team, but then you take that journey.
And that's those little course corrections, but you're never going backwards, right? You're still moving forward. And that for me was part of my process. Like I would just go and do everything too. Whereas no, I'm going to be excellent in this one thing. And if I need to course correct, it's those small course corrections as opposed to doing a 180 and going back, realizing you, like Dumb and Dumber, you went the wrong way. The Rocky Mountains would be a little rockier, but
John Denver's full of shit, man. Well, you want to close us out, Nate, on something for whatever you want to close us out with, brother?
You know, I love podcasts that ask a great question, right? And I've been thinking about like what would be our question, you know? So I guess what keeps coming back to me would be if you could ask or if you could teach your younger version of yourself one lesson, what would that be? So I'll throw that out to you.
Consistency. Stay consistent, you know, and that's a very broad answer.
Sure.
Consistent in what? Like, and consistent in doing what you say.
Yeah.
When you say you're going to do something, stay consistent in doing that. And that means self-talk. That means what you tell your mom. That means what you tell your girlfriend. That means what you told your teacher.
Yeah.
You know, it's, and you know, you told yourself you were going to get up at 6 a.m. Get up.
Yeah.
You told yourself you were going to start, you know, training harder to be a better athlete. Do it. You told yourself you weren't going to procrastinate on your homework anymore.
Yeah.
You know, then just do it right after school. You told yourself that you were going to, you know, stay late after school and help do this, but then you made it like the self-talk. Stay consistent with your self-talk. Because I always talked I was okay with letting myself down when I was young. I was okay with letting myself down.
Yeah.
As long as I wasn't letting other people down, I was totally okay with letting myself down. So I would say if I could go back to my younger self, there's not much I would change. I love my journey.
Totally.
But I would say stay consistent with what you say and what you say you're going to do.
Love it.
That's, I mean, I would be in a totally different place.
We all would,
you
bro.
know what I mean?
We all would.
That's what I would go back and tell my younger self for sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
Cool.